A female voice can be heard from Madison Beer's laptop, although she doesn't appear to be speaking. Wait, where's that voice coming from? Turns out it's her own voice playing back on the Zoom call. Tech glitches, maybe? But she brushes it off like a pro and we dive right in. Can you believe Madison's been in the game for over a decade? Queen Bee Justin Bieber? That is discovered her when she was just 13. From YouTube covers to viral sensation, she's come a long way. And that birthday shout-out at the O2 Arena? Goals? Today we talk because Beer's upcoming second album, Silence Between Songs, has brought us together. Beer is relaxing on her bed in her Los Angeles apartment, propped up on a pile of cushions and typing away on her laptop. She just got up and is already wearing a "excuse me" jumper with big blue letters. She may be rubbing her eyes with her French manicured hands, but she still manages to seem put together. Her chestnut hair is soft and falls in front of her shoulders, touching the slogan sewn there. Beer's rendition of At Last by Etta James went viral after a tweet by a comb-over era Justin Bieber. What does 13 years old mean? At the time, it was 2012. People have commented, she can sing future star. Beer, the daughter of a real estate developer and an interior designer, went from being a weekend YouTube cover singer in her home in Jericho, New York, to a ready-to-go child star. That's what she always imagined happening. Beer thinks that meeting Justin was a turning point in his life and work, and that it altered the course of his life and career significantly. Beer was quickly signed to Island Records and taken on by Bieber's manager, the now troubled Scooter Braun, from whom she later split ways. Beer's mum, Tracy, gave up a job in interior design to steer Madison's. Beer entered the flourishing pop music business of 2013 with the release of Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen, Payphone by Maroon 5, and the rap break from Starships by Nicki Minaj. To celebrate his newly signed singer's 14th birthday, Bieber performed a birthday song for her in front of 20,000 fans at London's O2 Arena. Beer dropped her Disney Channel-friendly Love Tune Melodies a few months later, and Bieber made an appearance in the music video. Later, she'd walk for Dolce & Gabbana and debut her own Morphe collaborative makeup collection. After 3 years with Island Records, Beer went solo, citing a desire to avoid being trapped by the Disney Queen label that had been attached to her. Since then, she has experimented with R&B and the popular dance genre, supplying vocals for DJs like Jax Jones and Martin Solveig. Beer's output has been less boom-clap bubblegum, pop, and more reminiscent of Lana Del Rey's fragile croons from the Born to Die era in recent years. Silence for Beer Between Songs is a cathartic release in which she finally faces emotions she had avoided for the better part of a decade. At the tender age of 16, nude photos of Beer emerged online, exposing her to a barrage of vicious internet abuse. Beer admitted earlier this year that she had suicidal thoughts after the disclosure of her naked photos. Beer reflects, "There were a lot of very solitary dark points for me that I felt like not many people or anyone could understand. It drove me insane, and I've just made a terrible fool of myself." It has been challenging for critics to make sense of Beer's new musical direction. Pitchfork critic Danny Blum, upon hearing Beer's first studio album, Life Support 2021, described it as ambitious yet shallow and implied that Beer was trying too hard to prove her musical credibility. It has taken some time for Beer to be recognized as an artist. She is more commonly called a social media star than a musician, despite the fact that she has 37 million Instagram followers. Do you think Beer isn't being taken seriously? To which he replies, "Yeah, I mean by the general public," while heaving a sigh. She appears to have moved past it. But in all candor, I don't think it matters to me anymore because I think it's something that I've just kind of accepted. However, Silence Between Songs comes off as more open and personal. Beer wishes the powerful man who took advantage of people so young and king of everything well, and says he deserves it. "I just wanted to write a song about powerful men that I have been in rooms with firsthand," she tells me. They think they're at the pinnacle of success, but in reality, they're just the opposite. On the outside, they appear to have it all together, but on the inside, they are lonely, alone, and have no one to turn to for support. In addition, Beer is a self-proclaimed music geek. She has an unhealthy fixation on the Fab Four. "If I met Paul McCartney, I'm not making it out of there alive." On the album, she is also influenced by artists like the Beach Boys, Tame Impala, and Del Rey. The Tama Impala Inspired Home to Another One is a synth-driven dance track, while Nothing Matters is a symphonic love song made for a Disney movie. Beer, the protagonist of Rider, seeks a different form of justice, softly singing, "I always left you out, you still love me somehow, you just wanted a friend. Didn't know it then." She expresses regret that her younger brother Ryder was always overshadowed by her seismic, fame-sized shadow as they were growing up. Now that I've had a few beers, I know that song is the album's sacred one. I really did have an apology to give Ryder a tell, and I felt like he deserved to hear all the things that I said, she says, rearranging herself more comfortably under the duvet. Yet, I think he ultimately found solace in it as well. To have someone acknowledge your experiences and validate your feelings about them is a powerful experience. The beer industry appears to be more relaxed and open than ever before. Her autobiography, the half of it, was out in April and details her life from the time she was signed until she learned that naked pictures of her were being shared online. Journaling prompts and mental health tips she's picked up along the way are sprinkled throughout each chapter. I hope people who read it have a bit more empathy towards one another. Beer published her story at a considerably earlier time than Pamela Anderson and Paris Hilton, who have just released memoirs in which they address years of persecution by Hollywood and the mainstream media. "People have been very mistaken about my character and who I am," she informs me. "I feel like I've been severely misjudged in that regard, and it's a terrible sensation. It's disappointing to find out that the girl in question does not actually exist. My goal in writing this book was to make readers stop and think, wait, there are so many people who I've judged wrong." Does Beer feel like she had to suddenly become an adult? With what seems like a reflexive, "yeah, totally, she agrees. I started working when I was 12 years old, which is really unusual." She then laughs and says, "Poof!" as she blows air out of her cheeks. "I was very rushed to grow up in a lot of ways because I was in the industry. Although I am 24 years old, in my head it feels like I am just 19 or 20. It occasionally throws me for a loop." That's the message conveyed when she laments, "All my life I never had the chance to stop and smell the flowers on her album. Because of the nature of my work, I had to mature quickly in many respects. Now I'm all poof." Beer sits in front of some of her most devoted fans and plays silence between songs for the first time in a footage recently posted to her Instagram stories. There are those that embrace one another and cry. One looks off over the horizon with existential angst. People around Beer stare at her in awe. She clearly cares more about pleasing her devoted fan base than she does about having the general public take her music seriously. In his own words, "I feel like a lot of my fans have grown up with me and they've seen me grow so much." Beer declares she is quite accessible to her followers, with whom she even engages in group conversations. And if you look at old videos of Beer's live shows from, say, 2014 and up to the present day, you'll notice some of the same faces. "I know that X number of people will dismiss me as not a real artist, whatever that may imply. It doesn't concern me since I know there are many people who respect me and like my music enough to attend my concerts and hear me play live." So there you have it. Loves. Madison Beer, unfiltered, unapologetic, and totally slaying the game.